All right, let's talk about Zach Wilson, who, of course, he's going to play well here, right? Just to kind of rub salt in the wounds for the Jets, who benched him. And I thought he looked really good out there. Maybe really good's a stretch, but I thought he had a good game. And it does make you just wonder, like, what could have happened if he didn't get benched those couple of games? I don't know. I think they maybe beat the Falcons. Would that be enough? They would still be, looking at 6-7. Probably would still have to win out to have a shot at the playoffs. But I don't know. You'd probably like to have that opportunity. Anyway, let's just talk about what he did in this game, starting off with a play like this. So it's going to be zone coverage that the Texans are currently in, and it's Garrett Wilson that Zach Wilson is going to look towards. It's a route towards the sideline, route that can certainly work against this type of coverage, but it's going to somewhat turn into a one-on-one matchup. Like, watch as when Zach Wilson takes a snap, it's getting pretty well covered, honestly, here. So it's not like this is a great situation for Wilson, but this is just the kind of thing where, say what you want about Zach Wilson, I feel like at least with him on the field on a 3rd down and 8, you feel like you have a chance. Like, in the short-lived Tim Boyle era, it felt like they weren't even trusting him to throw the ball this far down the field, which, it's not that far down the field right here. But for Zach Wilson, okay, Steven Nelson, the corner, seems to be in pretty good coverage, but you're going to see him give Garrett Wilson a chance. As you see, Garrett Wilson is going to eventually get open enough. Zach Wilson hits him. Good stuff there. Again, great stuff by Garrett Wilson. That's kind of the main strategy, right, is to just hit Garrett Wilson as much as possible. But it was a good play, well-timed, all of that good stuff. Again, I think Zach Wilson's looked like a serviceable backup quarterback this season, which I know isn't a lot. You don't spend a number 2 overall pick on that, obviously. But I think that, again, I do think that is a benefit to have. But also, there were some legitimately good plays. He legitimately played well in this game, I thought. And something like this is a good example where it's the tight ends route that he's going to want to look towards on this play. And again, it could get open, right? Not something that you're expecting to get open, but running a play action, something that you hope can get open. Watch as Zach Wilson takes the snap, and you see Tyler Conklin, that's the tight end here. There's a window, but it's not a huge window. However, if you know where to throw it, it can be a big window, right? This is kind of one of those things of, in Madden, you just press the button that, attributes to that player, right? But here, it's not quite as simple as just hitting the tight end. It's also where to hit him. The defensive player who is covering Conklin on this play has his back turned towards the quarterback. So for Zach Wilson, his job is to throw it over the defensive player. As you see, that's going to be exactly what Zach Wilson does. Really a well-thrown ball, and they're able to get an explosive offensive play. And I don't want this to turn into a Tim Boyle bashing video, but let's just be honest. We know who Tim Boyle is. It's not his fault. He is who he is. These are types of plays that you didn't have when he was out there. You just didn't. And listen, going over here, I'm not saying the offense was exploding. They didn't score anything in the first half, and part of that was weather. I think another part of it, too, was just something that's been an issue in the entire Zach Wilson era, and even predating that in the Sam Darnold era of, you need to get guys open. And Garrett Wilson is a really good player, right? We all like Garrett Wilson. In man coverage, he's the guy they should look towards. Sure, I get it. That's the route you see on the screen, and it is a 3rd down and 8 situation, so this is going to get past the 1st down marker. But you also notice that there are Texans players who are covering over the middle of the field, but that's fine. Just wait until he's past the middle of the field and then get the ball towards him. Zach Wilson is going to take the snap, and he is going to be patient, wait for it to develop, well-blocked play, gets it over to Garrett Wilson, and wait a second, there's multiple guys on him. Why? Why do you think? Because he's Garrett Wilson. Of course there's going to be multiple guys on him. Normally you would say, okay, just get through your progressions, go to the next read. The reality is, in this situation, I kind of think just throw the ball up to Garrett Wilson covered is still probably a better situation than throwing up to some of these other receivers at times this season at the very least. But just in general, guys not getting open enough. Teams kind of know if you can take away Garrett Wilson, there's other guys I like on this offense, but no one I love and no one you're really fearing other than Garrett Wilson, who you do legitimately fear 100%. Heading over to this play, so this is going to be, this is just, it's a great play by Zach Wilson, and these are the kind of things where it's even if he's not great, which he's not, we all know the downside of Zach Wilson, it's I don't know, if you're going to have a bad quarterback, might as well have a bad quarterback who at least is capable of making some crazy plays happen. This is going to be a 3rd down and 12, and Garrett Wilson, once again him, all revolves around him, it feels like, going to try and get in the gap over the middle. However, when the ball is snapped, you see Zach Wilson, he actually looks elsewhere, but pressure came quickly. He's going to roll outside the numbers. Eventually, he locates Garrett Wilson, though. However, he would have to throw across his body to make this happen. And the second, if you're a Jets fan, the second you see this situation, you're saying, oh no, what are we doing? I guess unless you're a Jets fan who wants to see your team tank. Assuming you're rooting for your team to win, you're sitting here saying, oh no, Zach, what are you about to do? Well, he's about to throw the ball off balance and hit Garrett Wilson for a big gain. Great stuff from Garrett Wilson, but great stuff from Zach Wilson. And I'm not saying Zach Wilson does this consistently or even often, but he at least is capable of doing it, which there certainly is some value in that. Also heading over here, this was a really good play. Again, Zach Wilson was good. I don't know what else to say. He had a good game in this one against the Texans. I know they didn't score in the first half, but I didn't think that was really his fault. And he was really good in the second half, and the offense was working in the second half. But anyway, the way this concept works, it's actually a pretty clever concept. You see the routes on the screen. Seems like, it's a tight ends route that you're eventually going to want to look towards. Let's just, start to play, and you see that right there, that's where Wilson would want to throw the football. And usually you could throw it right now, but there's a Houston player who can get in position. So watch what Zach Wilson is going to do about that. Watch him pump fake, gets that Houston player step out of position, then throws to that player's left, and they're able to pick up a first down on that play. Really good stuff there by Zach Wilson to pull that off. So, listen, what do we make from all of this? I think nothing. I'm not sitting here and saying that Zach Wilson is the guy, or they should feel good about him, or even that he should be the backup next year. I think it'd be fine to move off of him and try and find someone else who you just feel like could be, a better option in case there is some, injury, because injuries do happen. But I think that, to me, what this shows is I just, I've talked about it for weeks now. I don't need to keep harping on it, but I think it was a massive mistake letting Zach Wilson sit on the bench for those couple of weeks. I know again, I don't know what's in the locker room, right? Maybe people had turned on Zach Wilson and wanted to give someone else a shot, and, Robert Saleh couldn't lose the locker room. But regardless, I do think that, they could have at least won another game and been in the thick of things, and who knows when Aaron Rodgers could have come back if they were still in it here. Big win for the Jets, and Jets clearly show they still do have talent. Again, I'm not saying that I think that this is a great offense or even a good offense. I'm not saying Zach Wilson is great or even good or even okay, but I think that he had a good game and he deserves a lot of credit for that. I don't know what else to really make of it other than that. So, yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on Zach Wilson and his performance with the Jets. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think of all of this? Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.